Leslie Rob comedy, welcome to the show. Wait, Leslie Rob said what? What? Leslie Rob said what? What she said? What? Leslie Rob said what?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Leslie Said What? Oh my gosh, guys, I am super excited for another episode in the Teachers and Testimonies series. Okay, so if you're like, dude, what is Teachers and Testimonies? Okay, guys, so like Teachers and Testimonies is a series that I created. It's just literally a series of 10 episodes of teachers who are sharing their testimony so that the other Christian teachers know that they're not alone in the faith, but also an opportunity just to share how the teaching year is going, what grade they teach, a little bit of their teaching nuggets and experience. So basically to have a lot of fun and discussion. All right. So feel free to pop in the comments with any of your comments and questions, and we're going to answer them to the best of our ability. But without further ado, bringing my guest teacher for the week, this is Miss Brandi Owensby. Let's give it up for Miss Owensby. Hey, Miss Owensby.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for taking time to be here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I bet. Are you guys still in school, or have you guys don't want to break yet?
No, we just finished on Friday. So just closed up the
God.
classroom. So this was our first day break. Hey, don't be too jealous. We ended up at the orthodontist. You know how it is, teacher life.
I'm just so jealous because we still have like another day left before school. And believe it or not, a lot of teachers don't even get out till Friday for winter break. Like,
that is outrageous. I'm just going to say it.
So messed up.
That's ridiculous. I cannot.
And the crazy part is that some of you guys that ended this past Friday, at least some of you guys go back the same time we do, and we don't get out till tomorrow. So it's kind of messed
how
up.
does the math on that? I don't.
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna need them to make it make
The math does not math. I do not. No, I do not approve.
Yeah, my best friend says it all the time. She's like, the math ain't mathing. Okay, it don't make any sense.
No, make it make sense. I don't like it, y'all. But hopefully y'all are enjoying those babies and the fun times of the season.
Yeah.
Hopefully the pajama day game is strong and everybody's having a good time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna say we're enjoying the babies at this point. Yes, because you know that the behavior levels are at another level.
I come home, so I teach theater, and so it's always a little bit different than the other high school classes. But then I come home to a 9-year-old, and so I get to hear all the fourth grade stuff too.
Oh, I hear you. Well, the funny thing that always gets me is I'm like, God bless you guys that are teachers and you have kids at home. I could not.
It's a mom hat a lot. You do have to have a mind to give to both. I won't kid. It is. I wear the mom hat a lot, or at least like the mother's love hat a lot, and a lot of patience and that kind of stuff. And so trying.
Oh, I hear you. Now, do you find that like you've given it all to the kids throughout the day? So when you get home, you're like, I have nothing left to give my kids.
Sometimes I do feel I have to rally, especially because I teach theater, but I am mindful about it, and I'm really proud that I have, for the most part, I really try hard to commit to having a work-life balance and spending time with my daughter. And so I play Barbies. I do have to think to myself sometimes, listen, I played, 45 minutes worth of drama games or gave improv coaching to these high schoolers. Let me sit down and play Barbie or play pretend with these cookies. And so sometimes that leads to mom guilt, and sometimes, whatever. But I do think about it. I really do.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, we're looking at the comments. Lawanda agrees with you and says yes when it comes to being a mother and a teacher. And then she also said good evening, and good evening to you too, Lawanda. Morna says our kids have a half day on Thursday. We are off starting Friday and return on January 8th. 2 days of PD, and then the kids return on the 10th. Yeah. See, for us, we go back on the 3rd, and then which is like a PD day, and then the kids come back on the 4th, but we still don't get out till tomorrow. So
yeah, see, we go back on the 2nd. We're coming back on the 3rd, so it's the 8th. Nice.
That's kind of nice. And the kids aren't there until the 10th. Yeah, no.
Yeah, especially if the PD's fun. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, really. That's up. All right. Well, you kind of already answered who is Miss Owensby. So you already kind of answered that. Okay, so tell me this. What grade do you teach?
I teach high school theater, so grades 9 through 12. I teach 3 sections of Theater 1, which is everybody in the school, and I do that introductory on purpose. And it's never steered me wrong. The colleagues I have, the students I have, the way they light up, and the things we get to see them do and create with them, it really is a special thing.
Oh, I'm glad. And the thing is though, like sometimes though we get kind of the bad end of the deal because the kids are like, well, I need to go to my real class to make up real work. Do you get those too?
I've definitely been like hung up on by parents. Like, I'm like, your child is failing, and they'll be like, well, what class is this? They've literally, hung up on me. But I really do try to see the bright side of that. Is like I have a lot of freedom that other teachers don't have to.
True.
To kind of get into their interests and to not quite have that stress. Although it is, I really do have to depend on relationship building and interest, that kind of stuff. Probably more than other teachers do. I can't really scare them with a grade. In my class, I more have to encourage them and bring them into the light. So
relationships definitely matter. Yeah, for sure. Well, what brought you to teaching?
So I knew I wanted to do something like with writing. English was my favorite subject. Mrs. Doty was that teacher. My quick teacher bio and like school history. I started school in kindergarten in the same hometown my dad grew up in. And that's where I would also graduate from. But in between, we had a home fire in kindergarten. It sent us kind of on the road. And my dad was a truck driver, and my mom, had come from a kind of harsher background and was in school for her nursing degree. But we were basically on the road. We had a lot of different classrooms, and between upstate New York and all the way down to Florida. But I remember different teachers' names like Mrs. Echemendia, Mrs. Knowles, like these teachers, they were prioritized. I never had a problem. Like if I needed to put my head down, like all the stuff going on in childhood, all the movement back and forth. But I just really remember teachers like holding me up, uplifting me, doing things like encouraging, like I would write little books and I put them on the shelves. Like I really felt really, truly at home in most places. If I had trouble, it might be a little bit of social stuff as a kid, like fitting into new environments. But really, I was really invested in us. So, and then Mrs. Doty was, and I just have to, Mrs. Doty was, is still she really, really is a very special woman in my life. And I really looked up to her as like a woman and a teacher. And so, when I was coming, of age, I'd gotten involved in theater through community theater. We'd actually gone to our first field trip through Mrs. Doty, took us to see the other communities theater run by Suzanne Bronson, still my good friend and director, not my director anymore, but a playwright. And so Suzanne, she's running this community theater in a school next door. And, 30 minutes away. And between the two of them, they arranged this field trip. Doty was always great about doing things like reading the novel and then setting a tea party. So we learned manners, we were this small town and she was teaching us all this cool stuff. So Doty takes us to this play and out to dinner. And at the end of the play, Suzanne says, okay, all the actors out on stage. Who out here on stage, this was your first time ever in a play? 9 out of 10, hands in the air. And she looks at the audience. She's like, okay, you guys, you're next up here. Come on out next time. So I'm little 8th grade Brandi running around my dad. I've been playing tennis. I've been doing the newspaper. I've been helping with student council. But this is the thing. I know it. And so, my dad, working man, truck driving, and my stepmom, gosh, I love her, Tina. They have, 7 kids living with them between the two of them, all with different interests and stuff. My stepbrother's playing basketball, my stepsister's a pianist. I'm doing like all kinds of stuff during that time, but they got us there like through community. I remember riding in the car with a family. Suzanne, I remember taking me home sometimes, and I'm telling you, I live 30 minutes away in the woods. Suzanne, she just played music on the radio and drove me home. So it really was, it just lifted up by the community. And all that to say, when it was time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, it all kind of came together, and that's what I do.
Yeah, because you had so many influential teachers in your life that kind of inspired you to teach.
Yeah, I really did. I really did have a lot of really amazing people in my life, and I had great peers too. So it was a good experience. My dad really set me up in a really lovely way for life by bringing us home to that small town. And so for all the angst I had as a teenager, I visited it last Thanksgiving and spent some time with my high school friends. As the first time as a Christian, Brendan and Candace and them in their home watching the sunrise, and it's just this beautiful full circle stuff to see how it was always all connected.
That's
really
so awesome. Well, it's so cool to hear how you came to teaching. Well, how's teaching going this year?
We are in year 2 of opening our brand new performing arts center in our community. So It has been busy, but I have also I'm learning how to do lights and sound and shop in a way like I've never had to do before. And I'm still a one-man band. Like if you've ever known a drama teacher, it is, I'm not one-man band. I'm really supported by wonderful colleagues. And we have a pack manager who does the lights and sounds and helps with things. And art teacher, really good friend who helps with the props and all kinds of costuming and visual stuff. And then my good friend who teaches music, and we partner up. So definitely supported. But when it comes to instructional stuff, all the instruction comes back to me. If it's designing, costuming, running, all the buck stops with the director, and so there are many, many, many hats that in the professional world are many, many people at the high school level. It's here. So I went from a small town director to all of a sudden one of the biggest venues, beautiful in the state. But I'm putting my swimmer's legs in there. I really am.
Aw, so do you have a supportive admin?
Oh yeah, I really do. We have a new principal, and he's been great. And so, and we have a new AP who's in charge of the fine arts people specifically, and he's been a really wonderful resource to turn to. I have a good friend who's the department head now, and so I really do feel like if I have questions and stuff, I can go there.
That's awesome. When you have the support as a teacher, you can do anything. It doesn't matter how hard, how rough it gets. If we got support, we got a good bestie, we got a good admin, we got it.
Yeah, because it's one of those gigs where it's never easy, but it's always good. That's all I like to say.
For sure.
So
yeah,
never easy, always good, but never easy.
Yeah, never. That's a great way to put it. Now, you said that you said your first time being a Christian, you had went somewhere. Is being a Christian new for you?
Yeah, pretty new for me. I was raised kind of just allowed to just consider and question. I always did. So my earliest beliefs were kind of just not sure. And so the long way around is I always questioned. I always grappled. I was what I consider a friendly agnostic, friendly atheist. I went to youth group with my friends. Like I mentioned, my friends, Brendan and Candace and Monica, the same ones I went home to every Thanksgiving break. We went to youth group together, scavenger hunt. So I was always kind and open, but I literally it couldn't make sense to me. I told a story to my friend Mandy, and it's sad. It really is. I remember kind of as a little kid, on a Christmas day, this is true, just singing happy birthday to myself and wanting to believe it and not being able to. So
wow. You were saying you were agnostic and almost atheist, huh?
Oh, I was. Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And still what I would consider very friendly, open, just kind of it's more like the Carl Sagan, line of things. I would say Pendula or somebody, that kind of vibe. So nobody who Penn had a great book I liked called Every Day Was an Atheist Holiday. That was it was still life affirming and love based and celebratory and not hateful. And so that was kind of the philosophy I lived with and would evolve into my Christianity. And I would come to understand was God's gift to me was that I've been chosen that long. And he was calling me that long and that hard, that he had gifted me, all that light and love and that kind of stuff. And so I do think it's his gift to all of us. I think as the creator, he has gifted that loving heart to everyone, a piece of it. If you've searched for it, I really do believe that.
Yeah. Now, so you were saying that were you atheist, agnostic or whatever up until a year ago? When you became
yes, up until that summer of 2022. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you said one of your teachers even had took part in that and somehow?
Well, okay. So, like I said, really, I would say the road to God really started when I started the therapy and that kind of stuff, because it started to help me clear the clouds and understand I had anxiety and, really understand that.
Yeah.
So through that quiet meditation, all I mean by meditation is breathing for 15 minutes each night. I wasn't doing any hours and yoga. I was just literally sitting like this and breathing quietly, listening to music. And I liked that practice so much. So when we went to the beach, I just went out at night. I was just like, I'm just gonna sit by the beach and do it. And it just felt different. I don't know how else to describe that, but it just
Wow.
felt bigger. I felt, a connection. I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to keep listening for that. And then kind of, as I told you, I was kind of going back and forth with my friend Mandy, asking questions, hard questions, because at this point, when you're grappling, you're trying to figure it out. I've had at that point 38 years of, kind of, because I never wanted to hide in the shadows. I was always welcoming, but I always wanted to be who I was. So, there was a time, it's funny enough, it was kind of like a closeted questioning believer, because I was like, well, I want to be sure when I come and tell everybody, because questions for me, like on both sides, and so it definitely was a time of
a huge jump. It's not like you went from like
exploration
Methodist to like Baptist or anything. You went from like agnostic atheist to Christian.
And and like it was kind of a slow, I felt like I was kind of getting to know God the Father first, and then through encouragement of my friends, would kind of understand more, like Jesus, the King and the Son, and so it's still a process. It's like 30 days from finishing the Bible for the first time. And as a director, when you read something for the first time, you're looking for character development. So right now, first read, I was kind of looking for who he is, and I'm going to read it again and be like, okay, well, I really am new ish to all of it in some ways, but then in other ways I just really feel like it's been a part of who I've been.
I love that.
It's a really, really interesting time,
and it's such an awesome journey, because like
that's what everybody keeps telling me.
Even those of us who like I grew up going to church my entire life, but I mean, trust me, I don't have it all together on any level. On any level, girl.
Yeah, I really depend on that. The first shall be last, and last shall be first.
Yes, I'm with you, girl. I'm with you.
Just to,
trust
I'm really
me.
hoping to learn more and listen more than I talk. Especially as a writer, one project I'm interested in is interviewing women of faith and compiling that together and kind of hearing more about what the long-term experiences have been. So
that's awesome.
No, but my teacher, you asked about Dodie and how she was involved. Sorry. So I ended up in upstate New York for Thanksgiving break. So I'm kind of questioning, August. It's a process. And so questioning, thinking, I went through something where really like openly devout Christian, like was very betrayed, I went through a betrayal, and I was like, whoa, that kind of shook me, and I was deceived. So there's all these little things. But then where I landed, so I'm driving to upstate New York, and I'm spending all this time thinking, listening to C.S. Lewis's books. I love him as a writer. I was cast in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when I was younger. I had directed it before, and the book, and it talked about, oh gosh, the quote was so beautiful. It was basically like having all the joy to be able to put life back. Oh, I'm gonna butcher it. I did write it down, and because it's C.S. Lewis, and
no worries.
I'm gonna find. Oh, here he is. Redeemed humanity is still young, but already there is joy enough in the finger of a great saint, such as yonder lady, to waken all the dead things in the universe into life. And I just love that. So listening to stuff like that. And so last day of Thanksgiving break, and throughout the whole trip, I really do. I feel a communion with the Spirit. I find places in my hometown where there is cool water and places to sit and think, and trees, and just time in old homes and old spaces. A lot of time kind of with family, quiet time with friends. And I end the trip kind of thinking to myself, I want to do something to honor Mrs. Doty. I hadn't been home since she had passed. And so I look up her obituary, and it says, go visit, or in lieu of flowers, donate to her church. So I decided to go drive to her church from the hotel we're staying at. And when I get there, there's these two guys outside, and they're like working on the roof. And I think to myself, I was like, okay, well, I could just go get some Lowe's cars and just bring them to them. And I just felt showy. It felt, it needs to be real. I'm a theater person. I want it to be real. So I was like, don't bother them. Let them work. I was like, I could ask them to unlock and it could be really romantic. I could just go in Mrs. Doty's church. I was like, no. So honestly, I was kind of sad. It's so funny in a way, but I was sad that I couldn't go sit in Mrs. Doty's church. So I kind of sat against the wall. I remember laying in the grass. It was very quiet, trees rustling. I took pictures of it, and I literally prayed, Leslie, and I said, Mrs. Doty, I'm raising my hand. Can you be with me? Can you come to, I did. And I hit shuffle on my music. I do this sometimes, just hit shuffle and see what comes. And it's this really beautiful track, Innocent by Taylor Swift. And just the words, again, feeling. And I know how powerful the brain is, but it's just this moment of just real calm and peace and someone holding that feeling. And I've been a theater person my whole life. I know the difference between, suspension of disbelief and something like that. And so that feeling when I walked up, when I stood up out of the grass and I laid there, I can't remember every single track that played. I was kind of like laid there in the grass and the music, waiting to feel and sit. And when I was walking out, I had the little white cutout of the nativity, and I just kneeled by it. And I remember praying that I wanted to know Jesus, and if he would keep looking for me, I would keep looking for him. And I've been doing that kind of ever since. And then I ended up, I'll tell you the story of how I found my home church. Actually was in Rock of Ages. I have a DVD of a summer production of Rock of Ages with my, who would be my Reverend, Jill Williams.
That's funny.
Isn't that so funny? So 2 years before, we were cast in that musical together, and we were both teachers at the time. And she was like, hey, I'm Jill, and hey, I'm Brandi, and hey, I'm this, and hey, I'm that, and hey, I'm a Christian. Hey, I'm not, but cool. And so we were in this musical together. And then 2 years later, and we remained friends, and for real, like friends, and we reached out to each other. And I knew when she started her new church community and how happy she was, and she knew stuff going on at my school. And so when the time came for me to find a church, I was looking around the community, and my husband was actually helping me look too, because I just want to make sure I found a place that was going to be aligned with my values and stuff. Like I said, this is evolution, not change of who I am as a person. So I kid you not, my husband spins the iPad around. She's like, I think you'll like this. And it's Jill. And she, she'd been in musical theater. And the church was where we had voted for years, and we bought pumpkins there. So it was really, and so that's where I've been attending St. Simon St. Jude Episcopal ever since, and I love it. And I got to shout out them, and if anybody sends love their way, they do wonderful work, and they're very humble, and it's all about the Lord, and just being there. And it's not flashy. It's the wood and the people and the lights and the welcome and the rejoicing and the being Jesus in the world. And so again, Reverend Jill Williams, and just shout out to my people. We're a little congregation, but they made me feel so welcome and so a part of everything. And my daughter and I do readings there now, and we do greetings and little coffees, and then a whole lot of learning too. So it's a really good community I've stepped into. It's been wonderful.
That's cool. Well, guys, Brandi is interested. If anybody has any type of, would you say biblio plays?
Yeah, biblio drama. So if anybody out there, I'm theater certified K-12. I'm also got a lot of training. I've done workshops at the state level for theater stuff. I'm interested in like directing and biblio stuff. I write. So I'm really just interested in kind of anybody else who's passionate about arts and, Jesus, and getting out there and kind of seeing what else is out there. Because the biggest thing right now as a human being is I kind of envy like C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien and all of them who sat around and really hashed out some of these big ideas in a way that's not like, how it can be sometimes online now, where it's just like really to prove a point. That kind of small circle of people who really grapple with ideas and stuff. I think I will always love the grapple, but grappling towards the light. It's really fun for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a great way to put it. Well, guys, Brandi, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here and to share with us. Like, is there anything that you wanted to say that you didn't get the opportunity to share?
Well, if I could just share, I'm going to share some of the best words that Mandy gave me, just in case anybody out there is like needing encouragement for reaching towards that light. Okay, so the things that I want to lift up are, pray and wait for it to be personal. Pray for wisdom. He always answers, the ask for wisdom. Be open. Be so open when you ask for what you need. Find that stillness. Remember, he can take it and you can talk to him how you need to, and you should bring it to him. Okay.
Yes.
Don't let it be about other people. Please don't tell me it's about other people and that kind of stuff. No, it's the mirror. It's the mirror. And it's the mirror, and do the self-check.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And pray for his closeness. Pray to understand. And then just remember to be bold but warm, because you aren't going to change anyone's mind by being cruel. You're really not. What I can tell you from all those years is the only people I ever believed and still believe are the people who followed the light. And so I think we do that in all areas in teaching. That's what it means to be the light, to be Jesus in the world, not by the things you say, but by the things you do, to do your best to care for others, and do your best, means do our best. We're human. So I would just encourage all of y'all to continue, doing the good work to the best of your ability, in the light and ever onward, and don't forget that the arts and all of that, they really, really matter. They're not just fluff and stuff. Our God is a creator, and these kids need to create too. So please don't forget that part of them. Yeah.
I love that, because teaching is truly a mission field.
Yeah.
We have to love on these kids. Like I always say, being the hands and feet of Jesus is just loving the kids for where they are, who they are, wherever they came from.
Yeah. And I love my friends that, our God is not a God of mud, so I just think, so just that raise up. So, and everybody up, lifting all tides. So really, really doing our best to tend the garden and flock, be good shepherds. That's really what we're tasked to do. If we're being so real, it's an honor to be able to serve as a teacher, when we know what the word teacher and rabbi means in this world, it really, really is. So
it really is a blessing.
Yeah,
to be entrusted with these young lives. So,
but it drove Moses crazy too. It literally drove Moses crazy too.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Okay. If you're not getting drove crazy, you're not teaching.
Everywhere. So
yeah, come on.
So
let's be
sure,
real.
You take it easy on yourself, and especially this Christmas season. Goodness, enjoy being with your family and delighting in all that.
Yeah, the break that you guys are already on that we're not on yet. But
you're so close, though. You're literally
coming.
So close.
It's so close.
It really
oh my gosh, Brandi, thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much for having me.
Right, I'm gonna pull you backstage, so wait right there for me.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, and that was Brandi Owensby, and she was sharing her testimony of coming from an agnostic atheist background to now coming into a Christian background, and now what that looks like, and the little nuggets, guys, that she gave at the end, as far as teachers and teaching, and oh my gosh, it was just so much to take in. So if you would like to share this with a friend and you want them to see it and watch it, you can have them go to www.lesliesaidwhat.com to rewatch it. If it's something that you want via podcast and you want people to hear it, guess what? That's good. It'll be on all major podcast networks starting tomorrow morning. So as per usual, guys, we thank you all for being here. We thank you for taking the time to be here with us. And we definitely thank Brandi for being here. All right, guys. All right. Leslie Said What? Season 4, episode 7 is out.